Kevin Kling's The Ice Fishing play takes place in an ice fishing house somewhere near Lake Wobegon, Minnesota. That's Garrison Keillor country. Kling and Keillor tell stories about the same kinds of people, small town and rural Minnesotans, mostly of Scandinavian descent, though not always. From his appearance in the ice fishing play, I would guess that Junior Swanson is not of Scandinavian descent. He's Junior the Third. An ice fishing house is a fairly permanent structure set up on a lake when it's solidly frozen over. Ron Huber's ice fishing house has a heater and a cot, a cooler full of beer, a radio, and a couple of stools set beside holes in the ice with fishing lines dropped down the holes. The radio says a big blizzard is on the way, the storm of the century. Tim and Paul on the radio say it's about the third storm of the century this year. They start announcing the school closings, which go on for the rest of the play, alphabetically. Ron likes to come to his ice fishing house where he can be alone, away from the resort he runs and its bar with all the people, and away from his wife Irene. But people keep showing up. His brother Duff brings him sauerkraut schnapps. Junior the Third brings him bait from his bait shop. A pair of Bible-toting evangelists, Chairwoman Shumway and Chairman Francis, show up, not dressed for a Minnesota winter. They come back even after they have suffered the worst of the weather. Even wife Irene shows up, at least shows up enough to talk to Ron. Sometimes they're still in high school and he's trying to get a date with her. It can be a little strange, and it gets stranger as it goes along. Perhaps the key is in that second three-letter word in the title. The ice fishing play doesn't have much plot, but it does have amusing people, good stories, some laughs, and a little sadness. It's a pleasant way to pass 90 minutes. No dialect coach is credited in the program, but Colin Nichols, who's originally from England, manages a credible Minnesota accent. He makes an appealing, pleasant, and troubled Ron. Scott DeBrew has lots of energy as Brother Duff, though he can be hard to hear when he's looking down the fishing hole. Moses Weathers Jr. the Third, Swanson, brings more energy into the house. As the missionaries, Shannon Lampkin and Michael Pierce have a sweet innocence. Mark Abels and Michael Monzi supply the radio voices. Colleen Backer is a sly and loving wife Irene. George Nichols plays a young man who shows up at the end. Scenic designer Zachary Carey has provided a sturdy structure, well lighted by Nathan Schrader, with props by Scott DeBrew and sound by J.D. Wade. Tracy Newcomb-Margrave designed the Minnesota and not Minnesota costumes. Director Adam Grun has orchestrated it all well. I enjoy spending time with Kevin Kling and his creations.
It was a very sweet and touching play.
Yes, it was.